Right, welcome into Posca Club, everybody. I hope you're all well. Thank you very much for joining in. Let me show you what colours we're going to need today for our little minion drawing that we're going to do. Stuart, our minion. What we're going to do though is we're going to give it a little bit of a two-tone, a little bit of shading. Okay, so if you've only just got a yellow, that's fine, just use a yellow. But if you've got a yellow and a yellow ochre, that will just enable us to get a little bit of shading going on in there. It's not essential, but it will look pretty cool if you can do that. So yellow and yellow ochre, obviously that's the skin colour. A little bit of brown for the eyes. If you've got two browns and you want to make the eyes a little bit more special, then go for that. But I'm just using one brown, keeping it simple. Then I've got a blue and a light blue. Normally I'd go sky blue and light blue. I'm not a huge fan of blue, but I haven't got any sky blue left. So I'm going to go a sky blue and a blue and a light blue for the denim. Grey for around the eye goggle. A couple of black pens, a 5M and a 3M in black for outlining. And then I'm using a 3M in white. We're going to use that for a little bit of stitching around the denim, which I'm hoping is really going to pop out on top of this blue. We'll see how it goes. Yeah, so quickly run through then. Yellows for the skin, brown for the eyes, blues for the denim, grey and black for outlining and for the goggles, and then a little bit of white for a little bit of highlighting. Everybody got that? Let's crack on, shall we? Maisie, did I just see you with a record? Are you drawing on a record today? Are you drawing on that? Yeah. Fantastic. Love the fact that you're drawing on a record. Let me think. Anybody, yeah, if you're drawing on a record or drawing on some cardboard or stuff like that, you will need a little bit of white for the eyeball. Okay, so just figure out where you can draw that white in a little bit later. Okay, let's start off with the yellow pen. So go and grab your yellow. We're just going to do some... Oh yeah, I should point out as well, we're not going to draw the hands. We're going to put the hands behind the back on this one. So you could mix it around if you want to draw the hands, but I don't like drawing hands. I think we're going to keep it nice and simple. So let's start off with our yellow pen, the paler of the two yellows. Just going to draw a big old sausage shape in here. Don't go too big if you don't want to do too much colouring in. I'm going to go down here. With a fat sausage shape like that. Quite stumpy because Stuart is quite a stumpy character. Am I allowed to say that? Stumpy? I don't know. Let's go and put in, let's start at the top, work our way down with these complicated lines that we're going to do today. The next line we're going to do is the outside of the goggle. Okay, so it needs to be quite a big circle. And it needs to be relatively circular if you can. So right at the top, see how it's quite close to the edge of the top there. Inside there, what we're going to do is going to do a capital D that's fallen on its back. This is going to be a closed eyelid. So do a line across there, look. Follow that. That gap that we've left there, that is going to be the grey of the monocle, of the goggle, sorry, all the way around there. Hope that makes sense. Two more lines to do on this, nice and easy, either side. We're going to do the arms kind of coming out of the shoulders, but then flipping around behind the back, okay? So just two little D shapes, one about here, and then one about there. Again, if you want to draw the hands coming out, you can do. I'm not helping you with hands. They're a nightmare to draw. They spoil the fun. So I'm going to draw the hands just kind of sitting behind the back. We got that? That's all your yellow lines. Go and grab your blue. This time I'm going to use the lighter of the blues. This is light blue, just by chance. And we're going to go and put in the dungarees. Okay, you ready for this then? So first line. First line, we're going to go from about, you see where the arm is, just here? That little section there. We're going to get about a third of the way up that arm and just draw a blue line all the way across. There's our first line. Second line, you ready for this second line? We're going to draw a nice big rectangle in the middle. This rectangle is going to go quite as high as the top of the arms, but make sure you try and leave yourself a little tiny bit of space in the mouth. The mouth is just going to be like a T shape or a little curve, so we're not going to do too much in the mouth. But let's go for a little kind of rectangle shape in here. So from about there, little rectangle shape. We've got that. Next bit is nice and easy. We're going to do 2 straps for the shoulders. So these straps, it's just 2 lines. It's going to go from the corner there to just above the shoulder. So let's do 1 line here, look, and then 1 line about there. You see how the blue line is just slightly on the outside there as well? That will look nice because it will look like it's wrapped around our character. Let's do something similar over the other side, so just 2 lines coming out. Right, let's get down into the legs. We're going to keep the legs really, really simple, okay? So right in the middle, we're going to just draw the little gap in between the legs first. So just a little line like this. Oops, done 1. Nothing too tall because we don't want these legs to be too long. But a little kind of shape like that. It's a box with the bottom line missing. So do that bit first. Then what we'll do is we're going to go outwards from those 2 bottom lines, which is going to be the bottom of the trousers. Next 2 lines, last 2 lines in fact. What we're going to do is we're going to come from the edge here. We're going to go up first, and then eventually we're just going to try and curve into the outside of this yellow line. I will zoom in for this bit. So down here, like, watch this. We're going to go up first and then just curve in till we're on the outside of that yellow line. Curl it all the way round till we join up with the top. Same kind of thing on the other side, just going up, curve it in just on the outside of that yellow line, only just on the outside, all the way, attach it all together, just making those dungarees look a little bit bigger than the skin. There we go. There's your guidelines in. Anybody using pencil, you finish with pencil now. We're going to go and put some colour in. If you've got the ochre and yellow, then let's use those 2 colours. If you've only got yellow, then just use the yellow. It doesn't matter about the shading. If you've got ochre and yellow, use the darker yellow first, the ochre first. And what we're going to do is just put a little shadow on this side. Nothing too thick. So watch this. It's going to come from about the top there. It's going to go behind that dungaree line into that part as well. See how it just comes from the top of the head, behind the dungarees, behind the strap. Do the outside bit as well, so we're going to go over this yellow line that we've drawn. Join that together above the strap. Underneath the strap, we're also going to go round the arm as well. Yeah, because that's all in shade over that side. So let's do that. So we've outlined it. That's the bit we need to think about. Then we don't have to think about the colouring in. So go and wax some colour on this section now. Lovely. We've got that in. Once you've got that in, let's go and do the blue. So we've got two blues. We've got a dark blue and a light blue. We're going to use the dark blue first and go and put in the dark shadows. So you've seen where we've put this ochre in. We're going to use that as our guide. So let's go and put in a little line just there. Look. Colour that little section of strap in. Okay, down at the bottom, work with me on this one. What we're going to do is we're going to take a line. We're going to continue that shadow line from where the ochre is. We're going to end up on the middle point just there, that little blue line there. But we're just going to go a little bit further across to the left-hand side, okay? So watch this, just there, look. So slowly getting closer and closer to the edge. Just past that blue line. It's looking good. It's looking good. We're going to do a little rectangle here, look, so it's just this one side of that part of the leg that's going to get coloured in. And then we can outline the rest of this section. And colour all of that in as well. Good start. It's all looking good. Right, next bit. Next bit is let's go and jump in the eye. So I've put an eyelid, that big D shape at the top there. That is the top eyelid on the inside of the goggle. I've put that in there. We're going to make Stuart look a little bit sassy by having the iris hanging from there. You decide which way you want the character looking. Do you want him looking left, right, or straight at you? Careful you don't smudge anything because we've got all this kind of wet paint over here. Let's go and whack in a half circle using our brown. Colour it all in. We will put a pupil on there. We will put a couple of reflections in there as well. So that will look a lot more interesting by the time we're finished. We're doing great for time here. Okay, next stage. Let's go work on the yellow. We're going to put the yellow in for the rest of the head. Then we're going to go and put the blue in for the rest of the body, okay? So we've used ochre for the shade. We're now going to use the pale yellow for the rest of our body. Also, and including the top eyelid. Now my technique is always to put the shadows on first so that you can cut the shadows out. So watch this, look, just around the edge there. Just going to put a little bit of yellow on to cut out that shadow so it goes really sharp, really thin at the top there. I'm going to outline the rest, so across the top of the dungarees here. Doesn't matter if you go over the blue a little bit. It's all going to be hidden behind a black line. Let's colour that top section in. Now don't forget when you're colouring in, press nice and gently, don't press too hard. The number one thing that people go wrong with Posca pens is pressing too hard. So if you can, just remind yourself to press nice and gently. Now, as you get round into the mouth area, we are doing just a really simple mouth. It's going to be like a letter T on its side for a little smirk. If you want to put in a more complicated mouth, leave a little gap in there, leave a little banana shape or something like that. And then you can put a mouth in there. I'm not doing anything near as complicated as an open mouth, because I want to definitely make sure I finish on time. There we go. All that in yellow. Do that top eyelid as well. Remember, nice and gentle. Go and prime your pen every now and then on a scrap sheet of card. You do need a constantly wet nib. Let's get down into the arms underneath the dungaree here, underneath the dungaree strap. Got that whole section there. And then finish off this little section here. You should start to see your character really coming together now. We're just about there. Nearly done. Go and grab that light blue now. Let's get into the dungarees. Everything in the dungarees that's left over, let's colour it in the light blue. As usual, I like to outline what I'm colouring in first. Outline the area first, so it's just around the bottom there and around the strap, and then colour the rest in. So you see how we're going over these yellow lines. Worth remembering, when you're colouring in and you're going over the top of another colour, press extra gently and don't colour it in too much, because what can happen if you go over the top of another colour and you keep on trying to go over the top of another colour, you're just going to end up diluting the colour underneath and mixing it up again. And that's not what we want. So if you need to, let it dry, give it another coat. You're better off doing that than trying to keep on going over the same area 2 or 3 times. Or going over it instantly. Whilst we're colouring in this bit, I just want to say thank you to everyone who's put in a testimonial, a review on Trustpilot. Really appreciate that. They're looking good. Got another one today. I don't know who it's from yet. I've not had a proper read. It was a huge one though. It was long, very wordy. But yeah, I really appreciate the effort that everyone's putting in for those testimonials. They're really helping a lot. And also just a reminder that the Korp Academy, the doors are open. So if you know anybody new who wants to join, now's the time to let them know that they can join in. If they don't do it now, the window doesn't open again until November. So it's now or November, which is 4 months away. There we go. We're looking good. One last bit before we have a little half-time look at everybody's characters. And one thing I probably should have said right at the start of the session was never feel obliged to go with traditional colours. You know, we've gone very traditional with the minion colours here, but that doesn't mean you can't do 2 greens or 2 purples. Or just mix it up and do yellow dungarees and a blue minion. Take some risks, do something different, do something that nobody else is doing. Lovely stuff. Right, last bit. Last bit, all we're going to do is just do this like donut shape around the goggles, around the eyes. So let's get in there, make sure everything's dry. Let's go and put that. Ooh. Real wonky lining. Did not intend it to go that wonky, but that'll do. It really doesn't matter. If you make a few mistakes and your circle's not a circle, just go with it. Make it look like it's meant to be like that. Like there's a little dent in it or something. That's not too bad actually. If your shape is way off and you're not liking it, just let it dry, go back and fix it a little bit later. Worth remembering that it's going to be more difficult to put yellow on top of grey, so it's going to be very difficult to make this a bit smaller. It's going to be a lot easier to make it bigger. What we'll do before we have a little look at our half-time results is we'll just throw in some shoes. Now we're going to use the black pen for the shoes and for the pupil. But I want to get them in now because technically it's colouring in, and second half of the session is all about outlining and finishing touches. So let's just carry on with a little bit more colouring in. Using my 5M to just whack in half a pupil because it's behind that eyelid. And then down in the shoes couldn't be any simpler. I mean, they could be simpler, but we're going to keep them nice and simple with these shoes. I'm just going to go with some capital D shapes. Like that. See how it just goes up into it just goes over the bottom of the trousers a little bit. Bit of a curve, a big curve across the top, just a real faint curve across the bottom, but essentially just a capital D shape. I'm doing these in black. Obviously you could do them in grey, you could do them in the brown if you wanted, but I'm doing these in black. And that looks alright to me. Beautiful, that's our halfway point, nice and early because we've got a chunk of outlining. Not only have we got a chunk of outline, we're going to do a little bit of detail in the dungarees to make them look really cool as well, which is going to take a little bit of time. So I'm keen for us to get in there. We're done. Let's have a look then. When you're ready, whip yourself into gallery view. Let's show off your artwork. Have a little look at everybody else's artwork. See if somebody's done something different colours, different shapes. That's the great thing about minions, is that if you do it too long or too fat, you can just say it's a different minion. If you do a different eyes, say it's a different minion. Anybody up for it? Yeah, so we can wait, Maisie. No worries, mate. You carry on until you're ready. That's cool. Jovi's up though. How we doing, Jovi? That's looking nice. Absolutely spot on, mate. Yeah, perfect. Really like that. Cheers, Jovi. Well done, you. Elsa, how's yours looking? Yeah, the shadow looks really nice on there. Big pupil. Big iris. Don't forget to add the pupil in there. The reason we want to add the pupil in now is so that we can put the reflections in. Make sure it's really dry. Nice. Looks good. What colour have you gone for the goggle there? Is that like a brown or something? Or is it a metallic? Ooh, deep grey, isn't it? Yeah. Nice. That looks good. I was toying with whether to use deep grey and try and make the goggle look 3D, and then I realised that actually that's just going to be way too complicated for us. Not complicated, but just too time consuming. We'll never get finished in time. Cheers, Elsa. Looks great. Donut, that's looking spot on, mate. Well done. You put a more complicated mouth in. Don't forget, this is the stage where you want to put a little bit of white in those eyes as well. Yeah, get the bottom of the eyeball in white. But that's looking amazing. Really love that, mate. Well done. Cheers, Donut. Athena. Are we calling you Athena now rather than Maisie? That's cool. Athena, that's looking great. I do love a drawing on a record. I bet it feels a bit weird, though, going over all the grooves, yeah? Looks good, though, mate. It's got like a little hole in the middle. What we're going to do with that? Make it look like a bullet hole. I don't know. Okay. Cool, mate. Looks really good. Oh, Chris, you're on a record as well. Mate, these records look really clean and new. They're not I usually use ones that are beaten up and scratched, but they look so shiny, it's unreal. Spot on, mate. Yeah, just a little bit of white in the eyes. Worth getting that done before we start outlining. Also, with you guys, because you're working on black, you might just need to think about, because we're going to put a black outline on, you might then want to put a white border around it just to make sure the black kind of shows up, yeah? Nice one. Right, cheers, Chris. Cheers, Athena. Momo. How we doing, Momo? This is looking fantastic. Right, let me think. Okay, eyelid, top eyelid, Momo, on yours. Just make it a little bit bigger because we've got no... Look at this. Look. Let me show you on mine. The eyelid goes straight to the edge of the metal. Yeah, you don't want a white band in there at all. Apart from that, looks spot on. Thank you very much. Really good. Cool. Right, we're seeing everybody. Thank you very much for sharing that. I appreciate everybody that shares. I know it's not comfortable for everyone to get on camera, but you know, we're all funny looking. Don't worry about it. Right, let's get on with some more drawing, shall we? Okay, it's mainly outlining that we're going to do now. Outlining. In fact, there's just one more bit of colour that I probably will add in that I never added in. No, I'm going to add that in later, don't worry. We're going to do outlining, and then we'll do finishing touches. Okay, so outlining, I'm going to use a 3M. You know, look at the size of my drawing. It's about the size of my hand. 3M will be about the right kind of thickness. You could use a 5M. It's totally up to you, whatever your preference is. But let's go and grab that. Let's go and work it in the eye first, shall we? And then we'll just slowly work our way down. So hopefully those of you that are colouring the eye white, it's dry. If not, just give that bit that's wet, just give it a little bit of time to dry. Go back into it. Oh, let me zoom in a little bit closer than that. Obviously, we're going to double line it, make it wonky, all the usual stuff. A line around the I keep calling it a monocle. A line around the goggle. I'm not stressing too much about making it look neat. I'm just going with a nice wonky line. If we need to make it look neater later, we can do. If we need to make it look wonkier later, we can do. But for the time being, just stick in any old line and don't stress about whether it looks right or not. We've got plenty of time to distract from any dodgy lines. Okay, eyelid. Let's go and whack that eyelid in. And I will put a little tiny line dotted and dashed around the pupil, around the iris as well. Okay, so watch this. Look, just kind of coming from there, dot and dash it like that. Just a little tiny outline with your 3M. Okay, that's looking good. Right, either side of that head, we're going to put two bands that are holding this goggle on. So use the eyelid. You see that eyelid that's going across there? Use that as a bit of a gauge for where these lines come out. So I'm going to go across here, just a little bit up. Across here, a little bit down. This line goes just outside the head. Same kind of thing on the other side. Look, across there, a little bit up. Across, a little bit down. The line ends just outside the head. Let's colour that. Colour those bands in black. We're just going to keep them black for the time being. We might put a little kind of, if we get a chance, towards the end of the session, we might put a little bit of a little metal clasp kind of thing in there. But we'll see. That's the good thing about Posca pens. If you want to change the shape of anything, if something looks a little bit too basic, then you can add bits to it, make it look a little bit more interesting. Awesome. Right, can you reach over the head and go over the head without smudging anything? Remember, as we come into this head, the goggle band, we want to just be just inside like that. And let's bring those lines down to the dungarees. Remember, double line it, make it wonky. Cool, looking good. Right, next thing we're going to do with the dungarees, what we want to do is we want to put in a little tiny overlap as the dungarees come into this flap at the front. Make sure this overlap is big enough for us to put a button right in the corner there. Okay, ready then? So like something like this, it will look like down there. Up like that. Gives us an opportunity to put in a little button. And then let's colour that in. We could potentially put some little bits of thread on that later. I'll show you what I mean by that, but for the time being, just a black button like that is good. Let's double line it, make it wonky. Let's do the same kind of thing on the other side. Double lining as I'm going along on this one. Throw in the button. And when I say putting a bit of thread on those buttons, what we'll do is use our 5M light blue just to put a little cross on there later. Look like it's all stitched in. Okay, getting into the dungarees then. Let's do this bit across the front here. That's the easiest bit. Let's do that bit first. Now, as we come down the sides of this front panel, we're going to do like a big hook shape, which is going to become the pocket as well. Okay. Now for this pocket, you don't have to go all the way to the edge. You can just go to the close to the edge. So watch this. Look, going down here, keep on going, and a little curve out like that. That's what you want. Double line it, nice and wonky, little curve out. Let's do the same or something similar over on the other side. Good stuff. Let's finish off that dungaree. So we're going to do the outside bit. We'll leave this bit on the inside for the time being, but this outside bit is just going to go across and then down. Follow that line till you get into the shoe. Again, double line it. Everybody's favourite part of the drawing. Let's go draw an armpit. Just here, look. So rather than going just on that line, just bring it in just a little bit and flick a little line up to about there. There's our armpit, and then we can go on the outside of the arm. You know, we're going to do something similar on the other side. So around the dungaree first. Double line it, nice and wonky. Flick a line up into the armpit. But just remember to come inside a little bit. Flick a line up like that and then go around the rest of the arm. I always find with little things like armpits and stuff like that, a little capital Y looks good. Just there, look. Just makes it look like there's a bit more of a fold of skin just there. Okay, whack in a pocket. On the front panel, we're going to have a pocket, just a capital D. Double line it, press nice and gently. Make it wonky. Triple line it if it's not wonky enough. Last little bit of outlining before we go and have a bit of fun with this. Well, two little bits of outlining. Down here, we're going to do like a line that goes across there. And then down on the inside. Cool. Everybody got that? Now, some of you have already done a mouth. If you haven't already done a mouth, let's go and do that mouth now. I'm going to do like it's like a capital T that's just kind of on its side. See how easy that was and how much personality that puts in. course, I'm going to double line it, make it a bit wonky, a little bit flicked off at one end. But there's flexibility. When it comes to the mouth, you can put in whatever you want. Okay, we're doing good. Next stage then. This is like the finishing touches stage. So what we're going to do is we're going to get into the hair. We're going to put some hair in. So I believe Stuart has like a middle part in, some real kind of fine hairs just flicking out. So we're going to do that. But if you want to make yours a little bit different, go and try something a little bit different, especially those of you that are working on black on those records. Just consider that those, if you put any hairs that are flicking out, you might not necessarily see them. So you might want to try and keep the hairs on top of the yellow. Okay, let's go and do it then. Yeah, so what I was saying, let's carry on with what I was saying. Finishing touches, so we're going to put hair in there. Probably a little bit of a drop shadow inside there and some reflections on this goggle. Little reflections in the eyes. Then we're going to get into the dungarees and do loads of stitches. Also, whilst we're at this point, kind of just bring some of these colours in. Let's make our characters a little bit spottier maybe. Just swap some of these colours over a little bit. Okay, let's go and whip on some hair. So technically we've got some hairs coming. Just like that. And then something similar. Over the other side. Just a handful of hairs. But you know, make them spiky if you want. Do whatever you want to them. Doesn't really matter. I'm going to add a little drop shadow in. So watch this. Look, just in the top of this eye. Let's go and just take out. Make this part of the line just a little bit thicker. Hopefully just sends that eye back a little bit. Even down here in the eyeball. Just a little bit, not too much. Okay, let's get in with the white pen. With the white pen, we're going to do two things. A couple of spots in the on the pupil, but also a couple of little lines to create a little bit of a shine on this goggle as well. So because the light's coming in from this way, it's going to hit the goggle just here on the outside edge. Now there's two reasons I'm drawing a broken line like that. One is because a long line is going to be difficult to draw, so I can just draw a series of shorter lines. And two, I think it looks better like that as well. So it's on the outside of the goggle there. Then as we come across, it's going to be on the inside of the goggle here. Look. See how instantly that's making it all a little bit more 3D. Let's go and put some dots on the pupils. One big, one medium, one small. Little dots on there. Let's get into the dungarees now. A couple of things I wanted to do with the dungarees. One was grabbing that blue and just putting a little cross on the buttons. Let's see what that looks like. Little cross on those buttons, look. Just to make it look like there's a bit of stitching on the buttons. But then also, I want us to go round the dungarees and add some white stitching in. I'm going to use a 3M white. You want to use a 3M or a 1M white, something like that. But try not to put your hand in the white of the pupil like I've just done. And then just go round all the dungarees like this. A little dashed line. Let's do the same on the other side. do the same on this front panel. We're only going to do a dashed line across the top here, look. Down the sides, the insides of those pockets. The big D in the middle, let's go and do the inside stitching on the inside there. We're stitching around the waist. We are there. There, that is our character. Let's just spend now another 5 minutes just personalising it. So things like putting some extra spots in on the dungarees or some stains or something like that. Have a bit of dribble coming out the mouth. Whatever you want. Swap over these two colours, the ochre and the yellow. Just try and blend that in a little bit more. So we've got some spots in different sides for that. I'm also going to put some little brackets, some little things here to hold the strap onto the goggle. So I'll show you how to do those as well in a second. Maybe use that grey that we've used in the goggle for a little drop shadow as well, because at the moment our character just looks like it's very flat and just floating there. If we put a little drop shadow, a little capital C kind of on its back around there, that might make it look like it's just standing on a piece of ground. I'll talk through the stuff that I'm going to do with mine, but feel free to, express yourself, do your own thing. Remember, this is fan art as well. It's not about making it an accurate minion. It's about doing your version of a minion as well. So first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to put these little brackets in on the side. So I'm going to get this grey. Just going to put these two little sausage shapes, look, like that, either side. And I'll come back to those a little bit later to blend those in, to outline them, blend them in, what I'm talking about. Then I'm going to take these yellows. I'm going to make my character a little bit spottier. Look. Look at that, love that. So swapping those yellows over, just kind of seeing what happens. Over in the dungarees, it's going to do the same kind of thing in the dungarees. It's not rocket science. It's just that these little spots just kind of help break it down a bit so it's not quite so harsh. Maybe inside that pocket you can have a little logo. So I'm just swapping the colours over again. Look. Down here in the shoes, what I'm going to do, I didn't have this as one of the original colours, but what I'm going to do with the shoes, in fact, no, I'm going to stick with the original colours. Let's not mess around. Stick with the original colours. I'm going to use that grey, the grey that I've used for the goggle. I'm going to get into the shoes. I'm going to put a little reflection, a little grey reflection across the top of the shoes there. Let's also do that little kind of drop shadow I was talking about. Now when you're putting this drop shadow in, you're putting this colour over the top, and sometimes it's going to go over a bit too much of the black outline. Don't stress about that. We know we can bring the black outline back later. Always worth remembering, when you're drawing, it's not about getting it right now, it's about getting it right eventually. So sometimes you have to kind of just make a few unusual decisions. So like, for example, just making this a little bit messier around the bottom of the feet is fine, because I know that by the time I'm finished it will look okay. Well, when I do a drop shadow like that, I always like to just break it up a little bit like with some bits like that. Otherwise it ends up looking like a hole if you're not careful. There you go. That's nice. We'll come back to that in a minute. Let's just go and grab that black pen, get up into these little brackets. Going to put a little outline around those. Look. Yeah, that looks great. Makes those goggles look so much better. What about using that black around the goggles for a bit of a shadow look? Same way as we did the white, just reverse it. Little black line in there, little black line down the bottom here, broken up right close to the edge. Going to put some spots on the eyelids. Going to put some little tiny black spots inside the eyeball. Always love little tiny spots. And it doesn't matter if minions don't normally have these kind of spots. It doesn't matter, you're doing your own version of a minion. That's really good. Let's get down into these feet. Let's bring the feet shape back. Lovely. Okay, I'm going to finish off with a few little yellow circles around the outside of my character. I'm not going too crazy with it, just a few. It's not everybody's favourite technique, but I really like the look of those. Put some splatter. What about some flies? We haven't done any flies. I suppose I'm going to have to draw a little fly. That's like my go-to thing. Let's have a fly coming from over there. There we go. Put the direction of the fly in as well. Cool. We're finished. Sign it if you like it. Put somebody else's name on it if you don't like it. I've got a big chunk of space at the top there. I might do like what Donut's done. Put a little speech bubble with a heart on it on mine. There you go. That's finished. Let's have a look, see how everybody else is getting on. Donut, you were first up. Let's have a look at yours, mate. Yeah, right way up, please. Mate, that looks insanely good. Insanely good. Little heart on there as well. I'm surprised you didn't put a donut little badge on there. What's going on with the head there? Looks like a volcano coming out of his head. We've got a horn. I don't know. Looks good, mate. Yeah, I'm not very good at charades. Looks nice. Thank you, Donut, though. Looks good. I think we're going to get a bit more of an update from him. Let's look at Elsa's. Spot on Elsa. So perfect. Really nice. And a little open mouth as well. I like that. Nice. And good work on the shadow. Just breaking up that shadow. I always do like an oval, but I just like a little broken shadow like that as well. Drop shadow, that is. Perfect work. Thank you very much. Cheers, Elsa. Let's have a look at Athena's. Mate, that looks really nice on a record. The shininess and then the matte of the paint work really well together. That's looking really cool. Nice work, mate. Thank you very much, Athena. Well done, you. Let's have a look at Jovi's. Jovi, that's looking really cool, mate. Nice. I just about see the stitching in there, the eye, look, a cute little smile as well. Love the fact that you've just given him a standard little smile. It's just any kind of line in there. It works a treat. Just looks so smug. It's brilliant. Cheers, Jovi. Well done, you. Addy, I didn't notice you were in, Addy. Thank you, mate. I didn't realise you joined in. I must have missed your name out for some reason. Did you do two? You done two at the same time? That's crazy. Nice work. Yeah, sometimes I go a little bit slow for some people. So if you've got time to draw two, then go ahead and draw two like Addy's done. Well done, mate. They look good. Perfect. Addy, thank you very much. Momo, how did you get on? Look at that. Love it. Really nice work on the shading. Lovely work on the smug smile. The pocket of the D looks like it's got a bit of a shadow around it as well, with the blue as well. That looks really nice. Perfect stuff. Little thin hairs across the top. I think I might. It looks like yours has got a little bit of stubble across the top of the head. I think I might put some stubble in mine as well. I think it's just the spots from the yellows, but it looks like stubble. Nice work, Momo. Thank you very much, mate. Awesome stuff. Donut, was you showing me some? A crown. Oh, of course it's a crown. What am I thinking? Yeah. Excellent stuff. Yeah, it needs a street art crown, doesn't it? Give me a minute. I'll catch up. Cheers, Donut. Well done, you. Chris, how did you get on? Love that. I can't tell whether there's a little bit of blending going on in there, but if there is, that blending looks insanely good. No, it'll stay wet for ages because it's plastic. It's not absorbent, isn't it? But actually, it looks really good. The effect you've got from it looks really nice. Hey man, as long as it's good in the Instagram photo, who cares? It's all good. Nice work. That's just given me a great idea for maybe we should draw on records one week. I love that. Thanks, Chris. Thanks, Maisie. Well done, you two. Right, thank you very much for taking part, everybody. I hope you enjoyed that. Don't forget to share it around for me so I can see. And also, don't forget to tell your friends Korp Academy is open for the next week or so. So if anybody else wants to join, now's the time to join, okay? Take care. I'll see you all tomorrow. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.